It's match day 7 in the WSL 2. We are underway. The league table starting to take shape. Third place Southampton, 6th in the table, Nottingham Forest. And there's an early touch for Barclays with a couple of goals already to a name this season. Primus, the Southampton skipper, also getting an early touch of the ball. Skipper for Forest today, Molly Green, one of 2 changes back in the team and strapping on the armband immediately. Peplow back to a goalkeeper, Stenson. Very little to separate these 2 teams in terms of ambition, and just 3 places and 2 points between them at the start of play today in WSL 2. Free scoring Southampton, recently promoted Forest. And with the top 2 going head-to-head this afternoon in the West Midlands, these 2 will certainly have one eye on closing the gap. It's an early free kick for the home side. Eberhead, judged to have been a touch too physical, the Swedish 25-year-old. One of 15 new signings for Nottingham Forest over the summer. She signed on deadline day from Djurgårdens in Sweden. There's Bashford. Has a couple of goes at trying to find a teammate. Mustaki. Now Batty, under a bit of pressure from Brazil. That's excellent composure from Stapleton. Advantage for Southampton, which they're not going to get, and so Amy Fern giving the Saints a free kick in a good opportunity to bend a dangerous ball into that Nottingham Forest penalty area. Amy Rogers the guilty party this time. And an early test of Nottingham Forest defensive chops. Simpson with both arms in the air. Herself got on the score sheet for the first time this season in their last league outing, that 5-2 victory where they had to come from behind against their rivals on the south coast. Simpson's ball almost drops in. Surely not the intention, but just for a moment she had Emily Batty backtracking. Emily Batty in all yellow there, you can see, celebrating her 27th birthday today. That would not have been the way to do it, would it? Getting lobbed from all of 40 yards. Primus does well. Thomas back to Batty. Brazil making a nuisance of herself. And Head gives the ball away. This is Ferguson. Blocked by Mustaki. No sense messing about with the ball at the back there with so many Southampton players in forward positions, and that's a dangerous place to give it away, and what an effort from Primus. A brilliant snapshot from the Saints skipper. And surely nobody will be more relieved to see that thump the woodwork and whiz over the top of the crossbar than the Forest player Chantel Barclays, who presented it to Primus on such a silver platter. An early warning sign. 2 of them, really, if you include that inadvertent lob that landed on Batty's roof of the net. Atlanta Primus has a couple of goals to a name so far this season. Coming oh so close here to getting a third. Hit it with such venom. the daughter of former footballer Linvoy Primus. You might remember if you're of a certain vintage like I. Spent last season on loan at Charlton and scored just the one goal in her 10 appearances. A Jamaica international is Atlanta Primus. Emily Batty, meanwhile, only managed to keep one clean sheet so far this season. That was at Ipswich. This is ebb ahead for Nottingham Forest. Thomas. Stapleton with a bit of space to maraud out of the defence. Primus's challenge on Smith. I think Simon Parker, the Southampton head coach, will be pleased with what he's seen through the opening 5 or 6 minutes or so. Again, Nottingham Forest, very much the architects of their own issues in the early stages of this game. An apology from the skipper, Molly Green, making her first league start for a month today. There is the reigning October WSL 2 Manager of the Month. Did quite the job at Blackburn Rovers. Turned them from relegation strugglers into 6th place finishers in his first season in Lancashire. And given everything that the club was going through last season when he was there, it was remarkable that they managed to stay up at all. Another test of this Nottingham Forest defence. Mustaki. Two contrasting styles, typically, these two sides. And the clash actually seems to be complementing the pace of the game. Nottingham Forest like to dominate the ball. They prefer a slower build-up. Southampton, on the other hand, as you can see, really aggressively pressing their visitors today every single time they're in possession. Usually content to sit back and absorb. Plenty of possession and then counter-attack, fast with their transitions. Carly Davis said before the game that she feels like the Saints might well sit back and just counter-attack, but she wants to take the positives from the draw at WSL side Everton in the League Cup, where they drew 1-1 in their last outing before the international break, rather than the hefty defeat at Durham in their last WSL 2 encounter. She called that performance unacceptable. This is Thomas for Nottingham Forest. Mustaki. Just a touch astray, looking to find head. And a Southampton throw as a result. Well, the fast pace to the start of this game from Southampton reflects the fact that they've scored a lot of goals this season. Only Birmingham City have scored more than the Saints going into today's 2 o'clock kickoffs. 16 goals in just 6 matches for the Saints. Palace are next best, and they're 6 goals fewer. Here's Brazil, no stranger to the Nottingham area. Looking for Bashford, intercepted though. Walker just getting there in front of Tara Bourne. The Forest have struggled to get anything to stick going forwards so far. Every time they have got the ball forwards, the Saints have ratted about them and immediately won possession back again. Smith gives the ball away. It's Peplo. Two number 8s battling there on the halfway line. If you are joining us a little bit late this afternoon, a couple of changes for each team. Southampton bringing in Tara Bourne and Ellie Brazil for Isabel Watson, Ellie Hack, both of them dropping to the substitutes bench. Same can be said for the visitors. Nottingham Forest also making 2 changes as Thomas tries to hit the front, finds Lorca, hoping to find the overlap down the right touchline for Smith. Good tracking back though, and Southampton have it again. Ferguson. Brought down by Eberhead. Those 2 changes just a detail for Nottingham Forest. Nahikari Garcia and Molly Green in for Vivian Leah and Holly Olding. A boost on the substitutes bench though for Simon Parker and Southampton, with Amy Palmer and Maria Edwards available for selection for the first time this season, both of them recovering from lengthy spells out with injury. That's a really good ball down the left. Ellie Brazil onto it. Atlanta Primus wants it. Still Brazil. Tries a luck from range. A comfortable stop in the end for Emily Batty. It's made over 100 appearances, I would say in the red of Nottingham Forest, but as the goalkeeper, it's usually some bright colour instead. And having already seen her crossbar rattled and seen a cross-come shot drop on the roof of her net, a comfortable save like that down to the right is probably exactly what Batty needed just to settle herself into the game, as her teammates are trying to do. Southampton started this fixture with great energy. Lorca's header falls to Peplo. Slightly loose touch. Now Garcia. Atlanta Primus does well. This is what you get with Primus. Not just lethal in front of goal, but also drops in, willing to do the dirty work that not often forwards are all that keen to do. Ball forward snuffed out by Jess Stapleton. Mickey McAloney down the left, the scorer of a brace in the last league outing at Portsmouth. Has 4 goals already this season. Certainly a handful. As Ellie Brazil has proven to be in the early stages of this game. I mentioned before, no stranger to football in Nottingham, that through her father, Gary Brazil. She started her life at Derby County, but her dad was attached to Nottingham Forest for many, many years, was in charge of their academy and given a lot of credit for bringing through the likes of Ryan Yates, Matty Cash, Joe Worrell, to name just a few. Now has a senior role with the FA. Eberhead difficult place to see the ball bounce in front of her. Gets a little lucky with that clearance away, which deflects. That's ball forwards. Looking for Claypole. It's not the most convincing of passes back. Almost saw an opportunity for Boychlorka to run onto it. But this end-to-end game now sees Forest facing their own goal. Stapleton's ball almost bounces fortuitously for Smith. It will result in a Nottingham Forest throw-in and a good attacking position down that right touchline. Been in fine fettle away from home, Nottingham Forest so far this season. 2 of their 3 wins have come away from the East Midlands with victories at Ipswich and Bristol City. It was that day at Bristol City where I think a lot of teams in WSL 2 had to really sit up and take notice to the newly promoted side. Boychlorka's header, headed away by Amy Goddard. That was Stapleton again. Forest playing 3 at the back, with Mustaki, Stapleton and Green dropping in. Head wins their side a corner kick. Good backtracking from Megan Collette. Part of the promotion side at Southampton 3 years ago. Such is the nature of the fast rise of the football club that there aren't many left. 20 years old still, Megan Collette. We know corner kicks can pose such a threat nowadays in modern football. And at the near post into the side netting. A frustrating one for Carly Davis. We know how much sides work on their set pieces nowadays. Kirsty Smith could only find the side netting as opposed to one of her many teammates that were gathered in the 18-yard box. I mentioned 15 signings over the summer. Kirsty Smith was one of them. Signed a 2-year deal from West Ham United. Brazil. Good first-time ball. Sets Ferguson away. Head is racing to keep up with her. Options in the middle. Still Ferguson. Twisting, turning. And winning her side first corner kick of the afternoon. Mentioned that McAloney scored 2 at Pompey. Ferguson did as well. A signing from Scotland. Winner of a few trophies with Hibernian. And still only 21 years old. Another early test of the Nottingham Forest defenders, which they won't have to face. Referee Amy Fern unhappy with a bit of jostling in the build-up to the ball coming in. Amy Goddard, always a target from set pieces, offers such height. Brazil closing Batty down. Boychlorka, Claypole there too. Wins aside a throw-in off the foot of McAloney. What a goal Chantal Blois-Lorca scored in her last league game. Scored 2 against Portsmouth. One of them was, well, you would imagine, early stages of the season that we're in, match day 7 this, but you would think a good contender for goal of the season. That'll be a free kick this time to Forest. Kirsty Smith will go and retrieve the ball. Good chance to bend an inviting ball into that Southampton penalty area. As the skipper Green tried to nick a couple of yards infield. Big fan of the old school Adidas Predator boots. That is Green going short to Mustaki. Now Head, hoping to switch the angle. Clearly something they've worked on off the training ground. Blois-Lorca prodded away. Rogers will try to get there. Ferguson lifts it up in the air, but not all that much clearer of her penalty area. Peplow. Most convincing of clearances that from the goalkeeper, but Peplow recovers possession once more and Southampton have it. The frenetic pace that this game started with through the first 7 or 8 minutes has subsided somewhat since, falling into the familiar pattern that I think both managers expected as Blois-Lorca tries to peel off the last defender. The goalkeeper always looked like she'd be favourite for that. I watched 2 or 3 interviews from both managers prior to the game, and in every interview Davis and Parker said similar things in talking about the very clear, identifiable styles that both clubs have. Southampton living off the transition, fast breaks. Nottingham Forest keen to dominate the ball. Stapleton through the lines, hoping to find Blois-Lorca, slightly beyond her. Garcia couldn't retrieve either, though Claypole now does. That's a strong slide challenge and a fair one, according to the referee. We mentioned a few moments ago that the frenetic pace had subsided, and the action areas you can see there reflect a very even game so far. Best chance of it came early on when Atlanta Primus thumped the crossbar, capitalising on a Nottingham Forest error. Stapleton has it for Forest. It's a back 3 that can become a back 5 when they need it to. Thrice bitten and certainly shy now, having conceded 3 goals at Durham in their last league outing. It's the most that they've conceded for around 18 months when they were beaten 4-3 by Wolves. Back in the day that Forest and Wolves would go head-to-head looking for promotion to the second tier, seemingly season after season. Also, slightly loose touch from Collette. Forest have it back, and the advantage from the referee. This is that patient build-up play that Southampton manager Simon Parker alluded to in his pre-match press. Another team there might have chosen for the more direct option. Forest content to cycle it back to the halfway line and build again. Garcia's flick to nobody in particular in the end. Clearance away from Goddard. Mustaki with a bit of space. Looking for Garcia, not the tallest. Brazil trying to find Ferguson. Plenty of composure from Molly Green there. Overhead. Up towards Claypole. Well defended though by Goddard. Thomas wins it back for Forest. And Stapleton will have plenty of space with which to build. Choose her options. Thank you for joining us on the WSL2 YouTube channel this afternoon. Reminder, if you subscribe, you'll be able to catch plenty of behind-the-scenes footage, goals of the month, the best action, and the all-important live streams of every WSL2 game this season. The most competitive second-tier campaign for many a year, with potentially 3 places for promotion up for grabs now, with that 3rd place playing the side that finish bottom of the WSL for a promotion relegation playoff. Collette backtracking, having given the free kick away here. Nipping at the heels of Amy Claypole. Short free kick. Molly Green's got loads of space. So much space to hit one. And I think the goalkeeper saw that coming from quite the distance and turned into a fairly comfortable save. I'm not sure that the manager Simon Parker will be all that comfortable with the amount of space that she was given to operate in. That's going to be a goal kick, I think. Yes, it is. Good challenge made by Stapleton. Here's all that space for Green. Eyes must have lit up. She's a very long way out. It would have had to have been pretty spectacular. And it fell just short of being that. Stapleton's clearance, looking for Boyd Walker. Garcia underneath it, down from the challenge of Amy Goddard, who I think was penalised there for being too tall. Not sure she did anything wrong. Towering centre half, Towers would be the headline there. Goddard was Southampton's first summer signing back in early July after leaving Sunderland. She's 26 years old, spent a couple of years in the northeast. Every time Boyd Walker gets the ball, she's immediately surrounded by red and white stripes. Stapleton looking for a ball through the lines to Garcia. Might well have given a free kick away there on Peplo. Yes, she did. Rogers involved as well from a Forest perspective. was impressed when I've seen Amy Rogers so far this season. 25-year-old, she represents Scotland internationally, already has 10 caps to date. Unlike Goddard was Southampton's first summer signing, Amy Rogers was Forest's first deal back in June. Brazil showing great energy through the first half an hour or so of this game, often leading the press. First appearance for her for around a month. She's been so unlucky with injuries in her past, a couple of ACL problems. This is Rogers. For Green. Extended her stay in Nottingham over the summer by signing a new one-year deal. And though you wouldn't know it through the first 32 minutes, Southampton matches, unsurprisingly, average the most goals in all of WSL 2 so far this season. They average over 4 a game. So if we're to hit the average, we need to get a wriggle on. Brave header from Peplo. Goddard attempts to clear. Took a sore one on the foot there, I think, in the process. It's going to be a Southampton free kick directly in front of Carly Davis, the Nottingham Forest head coach. Chantal Boychlork a little clumsy there in bringing Simpson down. Tap on the back. Brief apology. Long ball. Mustaki's clearance wasn't the most convincing I've ever seen. I'm not sure she was expecting the ball to actually drop to her. I think she may have thought a teammate would get a touch first. It'll be a second corner kick of the afternoon for the home team. It's the centre half, Tara Bourne, in charge of corner kick duties here. A lot of movement inside that penalty area. Stapleton flicks it away for Forest. Ferguson takes a touch and eludes the challenge of Thomas. Headed away again, though, by the Reds of Nottingham in their changed navy blue and pink kit today. That ball's just left a little bit short, wasn't it? Perilously short. And Chantal Boychlork was almost onto it. She now is, but the Saints getting players back in numbers. Peplo will bring it away for the Saints. Turns into trouble, still manages to find a teammate. A little over 10 minutes left in this first half. Very difficult to separate the two sides. The only occasions where pulses have been raised is when there's been an error. Boychlork giving it away earlier for Atlanta Primus to try a luck from range. That's when Southampton hit the crossbar. And there, just a moment ago, Lorca almost profiting from a Southampton error. Bashford skips away from a couple of opposing players and makes the challenge. Mary Bashford, just 21 years old. Another new addition this summer, having left her childhood club, Charlton Athletic. Rogers dispossessed, wants a free kick. Is she going to get one? No, she's be given away instead. Bashford fouled as Rogers tried to keep a hold of the ball. Not that I'm sure that the Nottingham Forest midfielder is in all that much agreement with the referee. Describes herself as a combative midfielder. Bashford, she certainly was there. Garcia's long ball looking for Claypole. Mustaki to Rogers, back to Green. Lorca's ball floated towards the edge of the penalty area, ultimately through to the gloves of Fran Stenson. Largely untroubled through the first 37 minutes of this game. Nominated for Save of the Season last year for a stop against Portsmouth in the South Coast Derby. No such heroics required so far. Claypole trying to get the wrong side of Goddard and just about doing so. Looked a laboured challenge that from the tall number 5. Amy Claypole, so strong. Lorca, a yard of space for her to operate in there. It's probably the most green grass she's had around her without a Southampton player in the nearby vicinity all half. As Garcia tries to let the ball do the work. Simpson wise to her idea though. And that might well be a free kick. Yes, it is. Nothing too subtle about that from Jess Stapleton. Ali Brazil straight back up onto her feet again. Robust, let's call that. 2 hands in the back of the back. Another free kick. At the head, this time the guilty party. All become quite disjointed with all the interruptions. Can be no complaints. Tara Bourne again, the player to take the set piece. Just over 5 minutes remaining here at St Mary's towards the end of the first half. Bourne's ball, Goddard the target. Did the defensive work for Forest there. Bourne is back on the ball once more. Late touch. Primus. Just asked a bit too much from her teammate McAloney. And Mustaki will knock it long with great effect. This is Boy Lorca. It's the first time she's got away all afternoon. The shot is still to Garcia. And Forrester in front on the south coast. Nahikari Garcia with the most golden of opportunities. Long direct ball from Mustaki, excellent touch from Boy Lorca, and the second one's not bad either. The goalkeeper will expect more of herself. Garcia couldn't have asked for more. A second goal of the season for her. A first of the afternoon for Nottingham Forest, and late in this first half, they lead at Southampton by a 1-0. Well, Carly Davis said she wanted her players to approach this game with the sort of mentality, physicality and work rate that she saw in the League Cup against Everton when they drew 1-1. That against the WSL side, remember. She's getting that so far here at Southampton. And they continue to be a real threat away from home. Looking for a 4th win of the season. If they were to secure that here today at St Mary's, 3 of them would be away wins. Forest with the wind in their sails here at the end of the first half. The second corner of the afternoon for them. Nahikari Garcia on loan, a short-term loan as it is from Denver Summit in the NWSL. And Mustaki, who played that wonderful searching ball over the top to set Boy Lorca away, will look to unlock the Southampton defence again here with this. That's a very crowded 6-yard box. And it almost flies in at the near post. Goalkeeper that time did brilliantly to keep it out. And Southampton, who had looked fairly comfortable for large swathes of this first half, suddenly looked really troubled. No doubt, Fran Stenson will blame herself for the concession of that opening goal, but she's done brilliantly to keep that corner kick out. Thomas. Now Boy Lorca. Hearing that we're going to get about 1 minute added on at the end of this first half. So another minute for Southampton to see out before Simon Parker can get his troops back in the changing room. Perhaps another minute, though, for Nottingham Forest to see if they can put this Saints defence under yet more pressure. It is Southampton with the ball, though, at the moment, with around 90 seconds to try and find an equaliser at the end of the first 45. Goddard, forced back to the goalkeeper. Header away by Stapleton. Boy Lorca challenging with Bashford, coming back from a Offside position, though.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 1 minute added time, 1 minute.
Here is that corner kick that Mustaki came so close to sneaking in at the near post. Real all hands on deck sort of stuff at the back there. And Stenson did very, very well indeed to keep that out. Well, that's not the sort of free kick that you want to concede, though, in the dying seconds of stoppage time. It's Stapleton, who sees her side under pressure now, with what will probably be the final act of this first 45 minutes. Born the taker again, Goddard you'd think would be the target. It's bent in at that near post, they're queuing up and they're equalising. Mary Bashford got the telling touch. McAloney involved as well. And in the very dying moments at the end of the first half, Southampton are level. Well, you did wonder when Forest conceded a free kick in such a dangerous area, whether or not it would see them punished. Oh, how it has. Bourne's ball, Bashford's touch. Nothing the goalkeeper, Batty, could do about it. And the Saints are level at the break. Felt like the perfect away performance for a time. Now they've got to do it all again in this second half. Matchday 7, WSL 2. It's Southampton against Nottingham Forest. It's finally poised, and this is Ellie Brazil on the ball. Now the goal scorer, Bashford, trying to step away from the other goal scorer, Garcia, who pulls her down. That'll be a free kick. The first 35, 36 minutes or so of the first half, as Garcia is the first name to go into the referee Amy Fern's notebook. Needed a goal, we got two, and it really does set up the second half nicely here on the south coast. Sunny afternoon, as you can see, temperatures dropping. It was around 12 or 13 degrees Celsius at kickoff time, but starting to get a wee bit chilly now as we lose the light. Hikari Garcia certainly can't have any complaints about the awarding of the free kick, but isn't overly pleased that she's been penalised for it. And it's a really good chance for Southampton to test those Forest defenders and maybe even the goalkeeper in the early stages of this second half. Long way out as it is. Sarah Bourne stood there. That is her left hand in the air that you can see. Primus is completely unmarked at the back post at the moment. Instead, they're going to go for goal. And that wasn't too troubling for Emily Batty and the Forest goal from Jess Simpson. She scored at Portsmouth in her last league outing, has 3 assists to her name so far this season as well. Simpson on loan from Manchester United. Fancied her chances. And if you don't shoot, the old adage is you don't score. Southampton started the first half with great energy, really getting about Forest, making life quite uncomfortable for them. And Forest played their way through that initial burst of energy. No surprise to see Southampton on the front foot, given they got that late equaliser in the end of the first half. McAloney trying to dig the ball out in the direction of Ferguson on the right wing. And it's going to be another free kick. Bashford brought down. Bashford on the score sheet for the first time since opening day. She scored 2 against Ipswich in that 4-0 win back in early September. This time it is too far out to go for goal, so Bourne will cross the ball, and so close to finding a connection. Primus and Brazil queuing up at the back stick. And Ellie Brazil's eyes might have just been taken by the presence of her teammate Primus, just a couple of yards away from her. That's a really good opportunity, though. What an excellent ball it was from Tara Bourne. Smith for Boyd Lorca. Second half, 4 minutes old. Forest have barely been inside the Southampton half. As Peploe turns it back to Stenson. A tricky place to let the ball run, and got a little bit lucky there, Southampton, to see Forest not punish them. Molly Green, the Nottingham Forest skipper, coming across and putting it out for a Saints throw. Back in the team today, back with the armband again, Green. 2 changes for Forest. Green and Garcia, the goal scorer, replacing Leah and Olding, both of them on the bench. Ferguson's throw. Bourne. Now Brazil for Southampton. Couldn't quite wrap her foot around it. That'll be a goal kick instead. You can see the sun is sinking now to a position where it's making it quite difficult for some of the players to see. The home form is certainly something that there will be emphasis on this season for Southampton to get right. They won just one of their 10 matches at St Mary's last season. They drew 4, they lost 5 of them. That was a real problem. And that one win came against Sheffield United, who would have been relegated were it not for Blackburn Rovers withdrawing from the competition over the summer. Bourne for Southampton. Long ball forwards. Brazil the target. Atlanta Primus. Jamaican international back to Peploe. This a first ever meeting between Southampton and Nottingham Forest. Of course, the two clubs well acquainted on the men's side. That acquaintance going back 130 years to their first ever meeting. But on the women's side, a first ever meeting at St Mary's in any competitive competition. Stapleton's searching ball forwards. Now Boyd Lorca. Always got an eye for goal. Almost deflected into the path of Smith. But Brazil will come away with it for Southampton. Pushes it past Stapleton, who tried to body check her. She might just see further punishment here. You could see the intention, even if the intention wasn't matched by the desired result, and Stapleton has been yellow carded. Second player in the book, joining her teammate Nahikari Garcia. Header from Goddard into the mix-up, into the gloves of Emily Batty. Kept 15 clean sheets last season, did the Forest number one. Just one so far this campaign, and almost saw her goal threatened once more by a short back pass. Did well to scramble it clear. She was the Northern Premier Division's Golden Glove winner with those 15 clean sheets. And you compare those 15 clean sheets to just one from the first 7 games in the second tier, you can recognise the gap in standards between the two. It's a real jump. Bourne's ball is a good one in behind Stapleton. Will have to be careful now with Brazil running at it. Corner kick it'll be. More defending for Nottingham Forest to do. Southampton starting very much the better of the two teams. This a few moments ago now, where Forest almost designed their own downfall. Batty did well, quick off the mark. And it's Bashford, stood right next to the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. Referee Amy Fern keeping a close eye as the ball is bent into the penalty area. Looking for Primus. Almost falls for Goddard. Hacked clear by Boyd Lorca. Plenty of depth and options on both of these substitutes bench. I wonder whether or not Carly Davis will look to hers to redress the balance of the game, with Southampton enjoying so much of the ball, so much of the territorial advantage as well. A relief of a breather here for Nottingham Forest. On that bench, the experience of the likes of Nat Johnson, Tove Holmqvist, Rachel Rowe, Charlie Wellings, who was involved in 27 goals in all competitions last season. Can hardly get a start in WSL 2 this time around. Simon Parker on the Southampton bench has the boost of Amy Palmer being available again, offering such experience in midfield. Maria Edwards as well there, a striker who was at Blackburn last season. Both of those haven't managed to feature through injury in the early stages of this campaign. Forest are preparing a substitution, as I was just saying a few moments ago, and it's, well, you would say probably the most experienced of the lot who's about to come on in Rachel Rowe. No stranger to these parts, having been at Southampton last season. Has over 100 caps for Wales. I lose past that from Amy Claypole, who will expect so much better from herself. 19-year-old of Chelsea's famed academy. There is Rachel Rowe, formerly of this parish, of course. There's a slip at the back now for Southampton. And Chantel Boyd-Lorca rarely needs too much of an invitation to scamper away from a defence. She's doing exactly that here. Look at the space inside the penalty area. Garcia's shot comes right back at her again. Another effort, this time from Rogers. Cleared desperately by the Southampton defenders, one of whom is injured. And the referee, I think, will stop the game to see if that requires treatment. Nahikari Garcia had the freedom of the Southampton penalty area. Brilliant again from Boyd Lorca. Look at that space. Perhaps should have done better. It's good defending, it's last-ditch defending. And that is the last bit of involvement that the goal scorer Garcia is going to have in this game. Scored one, perhaps it should have been two. Rachel Rowe will replace her. The first appearance for Rowe since the middle of September. Just a third in Nottingham Forest colours. She made 14 appearances for Southampton last season. Well, that attack, if nothing else, should give Nottingham Forest plenty to be encouraged about. And Southampton paused for thought, as Forest had offered virtually nothing prior to that in this second half. Such experience, though, in Rachel Rowe coming on. I mentioned her 100 plus caps for Wales. 33 years old now. And here she is on the ball against her former side. An hour in the books. 2/3 of this act are behind us. One apiece. Crying out for more goals. Crying out for a team to try and go and get a winner. Both sides harbour promotion ambitions. Nottingham Forest promoted just last season. I remember going to their training ground prior to the season starting, asking, so what would a good season look like? And every single player and the head coach, Carly Davis, saying, oh no, we want back-to-back promotions. That's what they're going for. And so while being in the promotion shake-up is a surprise to some, it's not to anybody attached to the football club. Kirsty Smith with the throw-in. As it stands in WSL2, Charlton going 4 points clear at the top, as Primus is back doing her defensive duties. Boyd Lorca sees that blocked. It'll be a third corner of the game for the visitors. It has given them a bit of confidence. That attack earlier that almost saw them nudge themselves back in front, again through Garcia. Some very deliberate bounces of the ball there to indicate something from the training ground. That's Chloe Mustaki, the Republic of Ireland international. A left-footed in-swinging ball, bouncing in such a crowded area, and resulting in a second corner kick for Forest in quick succession. Mustaki again will take. Born in the USA and then raised between France and Ireland. As there's a bit of pushing and shoving going on between Boyd Lorca and Brazil. There is Amy Fern, the referee. It's about 15 years ago, in fact over 15 years, since she made history by becoming the first woman to referee a Football League game. Let the shoving recommence. And here comes the ball from Mustaki. How often do you see a referee blow their whistle after all of that sort of stuff and give a free kick to the defending team? We're hearing that the long-awaited return of Amy Palmer for Southampton isn't too far away either. Suffered a stress fracture over the summer and hasn't played since. Like Rachel Rowe has had experience, Palmer will do likewise. A nice little turn from Rowe, though her former teammate Atlanta Primus was wise to it. There is Amy Palmer. Watched a little video of her arriving at St Mary's today, could barely keep the smile off of her face, being involved around a matchday squad again. It's been so long that the ball's been in that area of the pitch that a dozen or so Seagulls have decided that they'll play left fullback. Freya Thomas looking long, headed away by Goddard. Bourne almost caught in possession. Great chance for Forest if they move it quickly. Claypole from Boy Lorca. The ball needed to go first time rather than second time there. It just gave Southampton the opportunity to put a few defenders back in position. Ferguson being held up by Head. Bashford dispossessed by Rowe. And cleared by Goddard, which will possibly allow Simon Parker the opportunity to make the change, should he want to, but not quite yet. Good ball around the corner. Smith will lay chase to it. Nice football. If she can keep that in, and she does. Possibly a free kick. Referee watching closely. There it is. If it wasn't the first, second or third time, it certainly was the fourth.
Substitution for the Saints coming off.
Well, here is that change. It's the skipper, Atlanta Primus, who will make way to be replaced by Amy Palmer. Primus, who rattled the crossbar in the early stages of the first half. As close as she's managed to come today. And there is Amy Palmer back on the pitch for the first time this season. One promotion with Manchester United in their 2019 title-winning season out of this level, and with Bristol City 2 years ago. Straight into the fray. Goddard making a nuisance of herself there from the set piece. There is Palmer with the left knee bandaged. Tried to find Bashford. Claypole comes away with it. Rowe brought down. Megan Collette's the offending party, and that'll be a free kick for Nottingham Forest. Probably around 25 minutes or so when you factor in a bit of additional time at the end of the game. Had an excellent October, Southampton. 2 wins from 2, 7 goals scored. and an encouraging start to this season as well. But then again, they did last year. They won 4 of their first 7 a year ago, but then fell off the proverbial cliff, did their form, when they then won just once after the 3rd of November. Ultimately winning just 1 of their final 13 league matches, and they just can't afford to allow that to happen again. Simon Parker certainly can't allow that to happen. Poor ball away for Molly Green. Southampton have numbers. Brazil will lead the line. The ball was always the favourites to win the race into the goalkeeper's gloves. Kirsty Smith, the Scottish international, has over 60 caps for Scotland. Went to the country's first ever World Cup 6 years ago now. Finds rote and almost ever present over the last decade for her country, Wales. Boy Lorca judged to have been offside, returning onside from an offside position. 20 minutes remain. These two started the day 3rd and 6th. The live table currently has them 4th and 5th, with Bristol City, who continue to lead by 3-2 at Sunderland, leapfrogging the pair at the moment into 3rd position. It's very tight. Just 4 points separating 2nd place Birmingham City as it stands, and 7th in the table Newcastle United. You can catch all of the live action on the WSL 2's YouTube channel throughout the season. Lots of extra content on there as well. Well worth clicking that subscribe button. As Southampton prepare to take their 4th corner kick of the afternoon. Bit of space towards that back post to try and exploit, and oh how they have! For the first time this afternoon, Southampton are in front. It's Jess Simpson who gets the all-important goal for the Saints. She might well smile, she might well dance. Such a dangerous ball to the back post. And Jess Simpson has 2 goals in 2 league games for the Saints, who, as things stand, are marching to 3 points over Nottingham Forest. Well, what a time to score inside the final 20 minutes. He's trying to look calm, Simon Parker there, but you can see the nervous energy as he glanced at his wristwatch. And Forest have it all to do now. It sets up a grandstand finish, doesn't it, at St Mary's. This is Rowe trying her luck from range. Her luck is out this time. Jess Simpson scored an important goal in the South Coast derby in their last league game. On loan from Manchester United. An important goal that this afternoon. This is such an important fixture. I really feel that when we get to springtime, they'll look back on an afternoon like this. And if there is a winner from this game, and there might well be, and Ellie Brazil almost putting Batty under all sorts of pressure. If there is to be a winner, they'll look back at afternoons like this and say, those were the moments that they took huge steps in the right direction. She's been a nuisance all afternoon, leading the line for Southampton. A nuisance in the best possible way. And that burst of energy from that second goal starting to return to these Southampton players. Peplo just on the wrong wavelength there with her teammate Colette. Still plenty of options on both subs benches to inject new life. As we're hearing, Millie Mott is about to be introduced to the fray for the home team. Brazil looking to shepherd this out for what she hopes will be a corner. And it is. Isabel Watts might also be about to enter the fray. Well, we know what Southampton did from the last corner kick. Just over 15 minutes remaining. That one a high ball to the back post and Bourne acrobatically taking flight. Doing well to make contact, just couldn't quite keep it on target. A tricky one to get too much power on when the ball is dropping from such a height. Boy Lorca. That's a really good ball to pick out Eberhead. Perhaps another touch needed. And looks to be a triple change on the way there as I glance towards Simon Parker's dugout for Southampton. Rogers. Ball just wouldn't fall to her quickly enough there. Still managed to get the ball in the direction of Green. I was talking about 10 or 15 minutes ago about Southampton's struggles at home last season, where they won just once. Victory today would see them double that tally in still the formative stages of this season. It's Millie Mott, Maz Edwards and Isabel Watts who are all ready to come on for the Saints. Edwards will be making her first appearance of the season. Signed in the summer from Blackburn, so it will be a debut for her as well. Reuniting with her former Rovers coach, Simon Parker. Time ticking away against the tricky trees of Nottingham Forest. Rogers turns that back to her skipper Green. And Nottingham Forest also readying a double change of their own. Charlie Wellings, who, as I said earlier, scored 27 goals last season for them, and Cara Hamilton are the two players ready to come on. Smith did well to keep that alive. Fear from a Forest perspective that, though they're certainly not out of this game, are they creating enough chances to be able to get themselves the goal now that they need to take a point back up to the East Midlands with them? Rogers rockets that into Mustaki, who takes it well. Forest, who had won 3 in a row in all competitions, now staring down the barrel of going 3 games without a win in all competitions. That's Palmer skipping away from Rogers. Neat ball out for Ferguson. Fronted up by Mustaki and dances her way past her. Eberhead tries to hold her back. Good recovering challenge made by Chloe Mustaki. Had to get that right. It's a good energetic run, matched by the recovering defending from the Republic of Ireland international. Referee considering giving Claypole a free kick. With Forest still in possession, content to let play continue. Inside the final 10 minutes now at St Mary's. This is match day 7 of the WSL 2 season, and it will race by. A third of the season virtually in the books. Green's ball. Well controlled by Rowe. Thomas. Now Rogers. Boychlorka and Claypole occupying the 18-yard box. As that cross comes in towards Boychlorka, just about controls it, but couldn't keep it under a spell. The clearance from Simpson's a poor one. Not sure if that might have struck an arm there as it came back down. Play continues as Brazil prods it away from Green and throws herself to the ground. It'll be a free kick. A chance to finally make those changes. And I think it might well have been a yellow card for the Forest skipper, Molly Green. Amy Fern there just noting that down, so that confirms it for us. Here come those changes. Maria Edwards, along with Millie Mott and Isabel Watts. At the moment, there's Jess Simpson, the scorer of the winning goal. Still plenty of twists and turns still to come, though. Replaced by Isabel Watts. Abby Ferguson also making way to be replaced by Southampton lifer Millie Mott. And Ellie Brazil's race is run too, to be replaced by Maria Edwards, who'll come on and make her debut.
Also coming off is number 23, Kirsty Smith, to be replaced by number 18, Cara Hamilton.
Changes meanwhile for Nottingham Forest too. They'll see Charlie Wellings And Cara Hamilton on to replace Amy Claypole and Kirsty Smith. Rowe's done really well to get the other side of her player. And there's an opportunity for the equaliser. It's Charlie Wellings with her very first touch. Instant impact. And a first goal of the season for Charlie Wellings. What a way to introduce yourself. Rachel Rowe did so well to get away from Peplow. What a through ball, what a finish. What an equaliser, and what a grandstand end to this game we've got now. Southampton coming straight back up the other end and looking for another answer. This game has seesawed back and forth. And Charlie Wellings, who inevitably, having scored so many goals and played such a big part for Nottingham Forest in their promotion last season, will have been so frustrated not to feature as much this campaign. But that is some way to state your claim that you should be in the team more. More changes on the way for Nottingham Forest, as perhaps now they can sniff a winner, not just an equaliser. Rachel Rowe, instrumental in the first goal. She might be instrumental in the winner. It's Wellings again! Nottingham Forest have turned this game on its head. Unbelievable stuff at St Mary's. The link-up from Rachel Rowe and Charlie Wellings was so nice, they went and did it twice. And from 2-1 down, Nottingham Forest are 3-2 up. Well, I mentioned a few moments ago, that's the way you state your claim. We can just repeat all of that. Quite brilliant finishing from Charlie Wellings. To do it once is one thing. To do it twice in the space of just a couple of minutes is remarkable. Two substitutes linking up to such aplomb. And Simon Parker's emotions must have gone through the floor. But as we know, this isn't over. It's never over in WSL 2. End-to-end, grand stand finish here on the South Coast. I don't know how she sits down and stays calm. I'm not. Boyce Lorca running the ball away from those Southampton defenders and crossing it. And it's a really good ball too. Shouts for a penalty. Falling on deaf ears. Cara Hamilton was the Forest player that was brought down. The referee, the assistant, both felt that the Southampton defender got the ball. And now here come the Saints, looking for another equaliser of their own. That's Megan Collette, winning her side a corner kick.
Ladies and gents, today's match attendance is 2,293. Thank you so much for your support.
Well, the 2,293 fans inside St Mary's have been treated to a brilliant game of football. Particularly the end of the first half and now the end of this second half. No shortage of drama. Is there more to come? Boyce Lorca heads it away. Peplow on the volley. Batty will watch that sail over the roof of her net. And this would take Nottingham Forest up to 4th in WSL 2. There's the hero at the moment, Charlie Wellings. 27 important goals in all competitions last season and 2 crucial ones here today. She can't stop smiling. Who can blame her? And we're hearing there's going to be another 4 minutes or so to treat us all to at St Mary's at the end of this game. Rowe, 2 assists, by the way. Wellings getting a lot of the credit, as she so should, but Rachel Rowe, very much the architect of both of those goals. Another attack for Southampton to try and rescue a point in this game. Doesn't manage to quite keep that from going behind Stapleton. It'll be a 6th Southampton corner kick of the afternoon. And Amy Palmer will come across and take the corner kick. The Saints have already had joy from a corner at this end, at this corner, earlier in the game. Well cleared away, though, this time by the Forest defenders. Straight back out to Palmer again, and a first-time cross into the mix-up. Nodded down by Goddard, but around 4 or 5 yards wide. And I don't think Emily Batty will be in any hurry to take this goal kick at all. Another change on the way with Ashanti Akpan replacing Mary Bashford, scorer of Southampton's first goal this afternoon. And there is confirmation of the 4 additional minutes. Three and a half of those still remain, and that'll feel like an eternity to anybody with Nottingham Forest at heart. Another attack on the way. This is Edwards, making her debut today for Southampton. Watts to Peplow. And now Mott, another substitute. Plenty of time to pick out her cross. That's a dangerous one to the back post, and the Forest defenders, I don't think, could take too many risks. It'll be another Southampton corner. Desperate stuff now. Desperate defending, desperate attacking. That's a very important touch at the back post from Cara Hamilton. Palmer's delivery again. Right into the mix. Important header from Boyce Lorca. Just over 2 minutes of stoppage time remaining as Tara Bourne skips away from Hamilton, drills the low ball into the penalty area. And Freya Thomas will come away with it. Long clearance, anywhere will do, from the double goal scorer Charlie Wellings. Boyce Lorca's touch. Forest closing in on what would be their 4th victory of this WSL 2 season. Such a competitive league this year. 3 of those victories are coming away from the City Ground as it stands. Thomas again. And Forest are so well drilled by their manager Carly Davis into keeping the ball, possession-heavy base stuff, but at the moment you can't blame them for just wanting to listen to their instincts and kick it as far away from their goal and anybody dressed in red and white stripes as they possibly can. Molly Green, the skipper, trying to do exactly that. There's Rachel Rowe, who's shown such brilliant composure, such excellent experience, has really driven this game in the second half since she came on. Boy, Lorca shrugs off the challenge and not thinking about going to the corner flag. She's trying to get another for Forest. Wellings, on the other hand, who's got two, is taking the ball to the corner flag. Very wise indeed. Bourne comes across, smuggles it clear. 30 seconds or so remaining of 4 additional minutes at St Mary's. Amy Palmer trying to launch perhaps one last attack, but Forest have it again, and with that saps some of the energy, some of the life out of this Southampton side. The 4 minutes about to tick over. All eyes will start to turn in the direction of the referee. Clearance from Batty. And flicked on. Simon Parker playing the role of ball boy. Millie Mott needs to get play back underway as quick as she can. But it's too late for Southampton. What an away day for Nottingham Forest. Charlie Wellings, their hero,